Good morning students. So today we will start chapter 11 calorimetry. So this is very important chapter. So you see that calorimetry, that calorie means what, heat, and metry means what, measurement. So in this chapter that calorimetry means what, it is the study of the measurement of heat. So first we will see what is heat. So before heat you should know what is thermal energy. Generally the substance made of molecules, and the molecules is having some intermolecular force of attraction, and molecules are also having some kinetic energy, and so this due to the force of attraction they are having some potential energy, and the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is known as the thermal energy, and due to thermal energy the substance is having some heat. So heat is a form of energy which transfer from hot body to cold body. So heat, since it is a form of energy, so its unit is also joule or calorie, and we know also these things that 1 calorie equals to 4.186 joule, and kilojoule, megajoule, these are the bigger units of that heat, and calorie, kilocalorie. Suppose 1 kilocalorie is 1000 calorie. In this way also you can convert into calorie and joule. Then after that, what are the factors affecting the quantity of heat absorbed to increase in the temperature? And you know the temperature is the measurement of heat, and temperature measures the degree of hotness and the coldness of the body. Suppose one body is having temperature 20 degrees Celsius, one body is having temperature 30 degrees Celsius, that means the 30 degrees Celsius is having more heat. So temperature measures the degree of hotness or the coldness, and you know the temperature unit is Celsius, Kelvin, SI unit is Kelvin. So what are the factors affecting the quantity of heat absorbed to increase the temperature? So first one is that Q is directly proportional to M. What is Q? Q is your heat. That heat is denoted by Q. Q is directly proportional to mass of the body. For example, suppose 1 kg water is there. If temperature is to increase 1 degree Celsius, it needs 1 kilocalorie joule. If 2 kg water is there, to increase its temperature 1 degree Celsius, it will need 2 kilocalorie joule. That means if mass is more, then amount of heat energy required will also more. And this Q is also directly proportional to delta T. This delta stands for change. Delta T is your change in temperature or increase in temperature. And also the heat depends on the nature of the material. Different material is having different amount of heat needed to increase its temperature. So if I combine these two mathematically, Q directly proportional to what? Q directly proportional to N, Q directly proportional to delta T, and if you combine this Q directly proportional to N delta T, if we will remove this proportionality sign, we need one constant, and that constant is your what? C. So Q is equals to N C delta T, and what is C? C is your specific heat capacity. We will see what is specific heat capacity, but before specific heat capacity you should know what is heat capacity. So heat capacity is your what? The amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of whole body through 1 degree Celsius. So heat capacity is denoted by C dash. So C dash equals to Q by delta T. Q is your what? Joule, amount of heat energy, and delta T is your what? Temperature. So joule, the temperature unit is what? Kelvin or degree Celsius inverse. So its unit will be joule Kelvin inverse or joule degree Celsius inverse. One thing you mark here, I have written here Kelvin inverse or degree Celsius inverse. If the question is that 3 Kelvin or 3 degree Celsius, not need to change that Kelvin into degree Celsius, because here delta is there. Delta means what? Change. For example, suppose the initial temperature is 3 and final temperature is 5 degrees Celsius, and delta is your what? The change. 5 minus 3 is your what? 2 degrees Celsius. But if it is Kelvin, you just convert the 3 degrees Celsius to Kelvin. So 1 degree Celsius is your 273 Kelvin. So if you convert 3 degrees Celsius into Kelvin, it will be 276, and it will be your 278 Kelvin. And you see the difference is 278 minus 276, that is your 2 Kelvin. So here the difference is 2 degrees Celsius, here also the difference is 2 Kelvin. So not need to change Kelvin to Celsius or Celsius to Kelvin, because here we are taking only the change. So C dash equals to Q by delta T, and its unit will be Joule Kelvin inverse or Joule degree Celsius inverse, or you can also write, as I told you, that Q, that heat energy unit is also calorie. So calorie Kelvin inverse or calorie degree Celsius inverse. So what is heat capacity? So heat capacity is the amount of heat required to increase the temperature of body, whole body through 1 degree Celsius. वन बॉडी का टेम्परेचर को 1 डिग्री सेल्सियस इंक्रीज करने के लिए जितना अमाउंट ऑफ हीट चाहिए, दैट इज योर व्हाट, हीट कैपेसिटी. एंड आफ्टर दैट व्हाट इज योर स्पेसिफिक हीट कैपेसिटी? यू सी व्हाट इज योर स्पेसिफिक हीट कैपेसिटी? स्पेसिफिक हीट कैपेसिटी, the specific heat capacity is denoted by C, where C heat capacity is denoted by C dash, or also you can write specific heat capacity is your S dot H dot C. So heat capacity and specific heat capacity. If heat capacity is specified for 1 unit mass, then this is known as specific heat capacity. So for example, you see, suppose 1 gram water is there, its temperature is 5 degrees Celsius. We want to increase the temperature of water through 6 degrees Celsius. So we need some heat to increase its temperature 5 to 6. So you see 5 to 6, here temperature difference is what? 1, and here mass is what? 1. So this amount, the how much of whatever heat is needed to increase the temperature of body through this 5 to 6, that is the what? Specific heat capacity. So what is specific heat capacity? Specific heat capacity is the amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of 1 unit mass through 1 degree Celsius. So that means if heat capacity is specified for 1 unit mass, then that is your what? Specific heat capacity. And we can also see the derivation also you can do. So C is equals to, you see, initially it is C dash equals to what? Q by T, delta T. And when it is specific heat capacity, then this C is equals to C dash by M. That means I have told that if heat capacity is specified for per unit mass, then that is your what? Specific heat capacity. So that's why I have written here C is equals to C dash by M. That means it is specified for unit mass. And we know that C dash equals to what? Q by delta T. So Q by delta T into M. So Q is equals to what? MC delta T. So this is your mathematical formula for heat, that Q is equals to MC delta T. And when you will have some mass and specific heat capacity is given and increase in temperature is given, then you can calculate how much heat is absorbed by that body. And you see Q is equals to MC delta T, and if you want to define C mathematically, you see C is equals to what? Q by M into delta T. So when M is equals to 1 unit, delta T is equals to 1 unit. If M is 1, delta T is equals to 1, then C is equals to what? Q. What does it mean? That means specific heat capacity is the heat capacity or heat required to increase the temperature of 1 gram body or 1 unit mass body to temperature 1 degree Celsius. स्पेसिफिक हीट कैपेसिटी क्या है? कितना अमाउंट ऑफ हीट चाहिए एक यूनिट मास का टेम्परेचर को 1 डिग्री सेल्सियस इंक्रीज करने के लिए, दैट इज योर व्हाट? स्पेसिफिक हीट कैपेसिटी. एंड ऑल्सो यू कैन फ्रॉम दिस फॉर्मूला यू कैन डिराइव द यूनिट, दैट Q is equals to what? Joule. Mass unit is what? Kg. And this temperature difference unit is what? Kelvin inverse. So Joule Kg inverse, degree Celsius inverse, or Joule Kg inverse, Kelvin inverse also you can write. And if it is in calorie, you can convert into calorie. 1 calorie gram inverse degree Celsius inverse equals to 4.2 into 10 to the power 3 Joule Kg inverse Kelvin inverse. Why? Because I had already told that 1 calorie equals to 4.186 Joule. So you need to put this calorie value to Joule. So 1 calorie is 4.2. There I have written that 4.186, also you can write 4.2. 1 calorie gram inverse degree Celsius inverse equals to 4.2 into 10 to the power 3 Joule Kg inverse and Kelvin inverse. So in this way, when you will do the numericals, you have to use this units. So as you see the specific heat capacity, that specific heat capacity unit is joule, kg inverse, Kelvin inverse. You see for what is the specific heat capacity for water? For water, specific heat capacity is 4.2 joule, gram inverse, Kelvin inverse. What does it mean? That means if 1 gram of water needs 4.2 joule amount of heat energy to increase its temperature 1 Kelvin. Similarly, for copper, 0.4 joule gram inverse Kelvin inverse. That means copper needs 0.4 amount of heat energy to increase its temperature 1 Kelvin. So out of this water and copper, which one is the good conductor of heat? The good conductor of heat is copper. Why? Because copper का अगर थोड़ा सा भी heat दे रहे हैं, उसका temperature increase हो जा रहा है. That's why copper is a good conductor of heat than water. And water को अगर 4.2 joule amount of heat दे रहे हैं, तब जाके उसका temperature 1 Kelvin increase हो रहा है. Similarly, अगर water से 4.2 joule amount of heat energy remove करेंगे, then उसका temperature 1 Kelvin होगा. इसलिए water cool होने के लिए भी ज़्यादा टाइम लगता है and means heat होने के लिए भी ज़्यादा टाइम लगता है. So for water, and in your exam maybe the questions like this, the two substances they are given, and out of that two substance you have to find the which one is a good conductor of heat. So first you will see which is having the low specific heat capacity is a good conductor of heat. After that we will start the principle of calorimetry, and this principle of calorimetry is based on completely the conservation of energy. As you know, what is conservation of energy? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can transfer from one form to another form. Similarly, in the principle of calorimetry, and calorimetry, you know, this is the study of measurement of heat. So what is principle of calorimetry? Heat energy lost by hot body is equals to heat energy gained by the cold body. When you mix the hot body with the cold body, the heat energy pass from hot body to cold body till both the body attains the same temperature. जब तक दोनों बॉडी के बीच में टेम्परेचर सेम नहीं हो जाता, तब तक heat will transfer from hot body to cold body. So this is the principle of calorimetry. Heat energy lost by hot body is equals to heat energy gained by the cold body. So mathematically also we can derive a formula for calorimetry, and these things you have to use in your numerical. So how we will see, you see mathematically how we will derive. Suppose I am taking the two substances. First substance is the A, second one is the B. The substance A is having mass M1, initial temperature is T1, and the specific heat capacity for A is C1. And for different substances having different specific heat capacity, because different substance the molecular arrangement is different. So I have taken your two substances A and B. It is having the specific heat capacity C1. It is having the specific heat capacity C2. Mass M1, mass M2. Initial temperature is T1 and initial temperature is T2. And here T1 is greater than T2. That means this is a hot body and this one is a cold body. When I mix A with B, let the mixture temperature will be T. Mixture temperature will be T. So that means you see, suppose I am just giving you one example. Suppose this temperature is 30 degrees Celsius and this temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. When I mix, the mixture temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. You just compare the first body temperature with the mixture. Its temperature is 30, the mixture temperature is 25, and the cold body temperature is 20 and the mixture temperature is 25. That means you see, its temperature is 30 to 25. That means heat is lost by the body A. You see, initially the body is B is having temperature 20. Now the mixture temperature is 25. Its temperature is increased to 20 to 25. That means whatever heat is lost by body A, that amount of heat is gained by the body B. So heat lost by body A is equals to heat gained by the body B. body A, we will use the specific heat formula, that is your what, mc delta T. So body A is having mass m1, specific heat capacity c1, and the increase in temperature or change in temperature T1 to T. So T1 minus T, this is your change in temperature, equals to heat gained by the body B. So its mass is m2, temperature is c2, and the gain in temperature you see T minus T2. So it's T minus T2. Initial temperature 20 to 25 होता है, इसके बाद क्या है वो heat gain किया है, that's why it is T minus T2. So this is your mathematical formula for calorimetry. M1 C1 T1 minus T is equals to M2 C2 T minus T2. And T1 is the temperature of hot body, T2 is the temperature of the cold body, and T is the mixture temperature after adding hot body with the cold body. So this formula you have to use. Now you see, one condition is there when this thing holds good, when our system is completely insulated one. There is no heat loss to the surrounding. If there is no loss of heat to the surrounding, then only this principle holds good. It is based on conservation of energy. You see, whatever heat is lost by body A, that much amount of heat is gained by body B. So there is no loss of energy. So when it is possible, when the system is completely insulated. So only if the system is conducted, then maybe some heat is lost to the surrounding, and that time this principle holds not. This principle is not useful. So this is based on conservation of energy, and this is the one condition is that when the system is completely insulated. Okay, so now we will start the calorimetry part B, where the change of phase or latent heat it is there. Already we have discussed about the specific heat capacity, and only in that chapter, the first part, only you have to use that one formula, Q is equals to mc delta T, and all your exercise question based on only this formula. So after that you see the change of phase or latent and latent heat, this is two different things. So what is phase, how many phase are there? You know the solid phase, liquid phase and the gas phase, and you also know these things. When the solid absorbs heat energy, then only it is converted to liquid. Similarly, when liquid absorbs heat energy, then it will changes to gaseous state. Similarly, and that process is when changing solid to liquid, that is your melting, and when liquid by absorbing heat energy, it will change to gas, that process is known as vaporization. And similarly, when liquid release energy, जब liquid से heat energy release होगा, then only the liquid release heat energy, then it will changes to solid. That means you see, when the what state absorbs heat energy, so that heat energy is what it changes its intermolecular space. As we know, in solid the intermolecular space is 0, it is nearly equals to 0, but in case of liquid the intermolecular space is more as compared to solid, and in case the intermolecular space is more than the liquid, and if the intermolecular space is more, then that force of attraction is less. So when the liquid release energy, that means what? Its intermolecular force distance will be what? Decrease, and if it is the intermolecular space is decreased, then the liquid changes to solid. So by absorbing energy or by releasing energy, we can changes the phase. So what is the change of phase? If the change of phase, actually it is the process of changing one state to another state at constant temperature. The temperature should be constant. If at the constant temperature one state is changing into another state by absorbing or releasing energy, then only we can say that the change of phase. Okay. So after that you see the latent heat, we will see latent heat. Actually what do we mean by latent heat? So first, the dictionary meaning of latent is what? Dictionary meaning of latent is your hidden heat. That means जो heat छुप के रहता है एक body के अंदर, that is your what? Latent heat. So what is latent heat and how it works, and what is the function of latent heat? So first you see the latent heat is used in the in case of phase change. When there is a phase change occur, then only that time we will see the latent heat concept is there. For example, suppose I am taking here ice at 0 degree Celsius. If you will give heat to ice, it will melt and it will convert into water at 0 degree Celsius. You see, ice is at 0 degree Celsius and water is also at 0 degree Celsius. So after giving heat only, ice is changes to water. Ice is in solid state, water is in liquid state. You see, here the temperature is constant, that is at 0 and 0. So as I told you, so the at constant temperature, if there is a change of state, then only we can say that the change of phase. So you see, whatever heat you are giving here, that will not increase the temperature. So जो heat तुम लोग दे रहे हो, वो temperature को क्या कर रहा है, increase नहीं कर रहा है. That means वो heat जो दे रहे हो वो काम क्या कर रहा है. What is the function of that work heat? Whatever you are giving this to ice, that heat, whatever heat you are giving to ice, that will not change, increase the temperature or change the temperature. That will increase the intermolecular space or that will increase the potential energy of the ice molecule. That means वो क्या करता है, state change करता है, phase change करता है. That will not increase the temperature. उतना amount of heat उसके अंदर hidden होके रहता है. That will not increase the temperature. That will only increase the phase. If the phase is changing, that means the intermolecular space is less and intermolecular force of attraction is also less. That means it will break the bond between the molecules, and that is your what? Latent heat. So what is the definition of latent heat? The amount of heat energy needed to change its phase at constant temperature is your what? Latent heat. So latent heat is used in the case of change of phase. Then after that, specific latent heat. What is specific latent heat? If latent heat is specified for a particular mass, then that is your what? Latent specific heat. So L is equals to Q by M. Latent heat is denoted by L. So Q by N, that means the heat energy per unit mass, that is your latent heat. So and its unit is, as you know, the heat energy unit is joule, mass unit is kg. So joule, kg inverse, also you can write calorie, kg inverse or calorie gram inverse. That means it doesn't depends on the temperature, because this process is going on the means at only constant temperature. For example, I am giving you L ice, that means latent heat of ice is 336,000 joule kg inverse, means 336,000 joule kg inverse. What does it means? That means अगर तुम लोग 1 kg ice लोगे at 0 degree Celsius में, अगर 1 kg ice 0 degree Celsius में 336,000 amount of energy अगर absorb करता है, then only it is changes to water. और water at 0 degree Celsius में अगर 336,000 joule of energy release करता है, then it will come to ice. So what is the meaning of the latent heat of ice is 336,000 joule kg inverse. So that means you will write in this way. So 1 kg of ice needed 336,000 amount of joule to melt. So melting process के लिए इतना amount of heat चाहिए. Understood? Example, suppose one question is there. How much amount of energy is needed to vaporize 1 kg of ice at minus 10 degrees Celsius. Suppose initial temperature of ice is given minus 10 degrees Celsius and the mass of ice is 1 kg. So how much heat is needed to vaporize it? So how you see, so here 4 steps are there, Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So minus 10 degrees Celsius. So first, to vaporize means for minus 10 to 0 degree Celsius, then 0 to 100. That means you see, first if you will give heat, then its temperature will change minus 10 to 0 and 0 degree Celsius, all the ice will melt After that its temperature will increase 0 to 100, and after that 100 degrees Celsius all the water will vaporize. So minus 10 to 0, you see here temperature is changing, so that's why we will use this formula Q is equals to mc delta T, and mass here it is given 1 kg, and specific heat capacity of ice you have to take, and its temperature increase in temperature is 10. After that you see here 0 degrees Celsius, minus 10 to 0, then after that here the 0 degrees Celsius all the ice will melt. That means its temperature will not change, only at 0 degrees Celsius the phase change will occur. That's why you have to use Q is equals to ml. So first you will use Q1 is equals to mc delta T. This is your of minus 10 to 0. After that at Q2 at 0 degrees Celsius all the ice will melt. That's why you have to use this formula. After melting all the ice, its temperature will increase. So if the temperature is changing, increase or decrease, you have to use this formula mc delta T. That is your temperature is 0 to 100, and Q4 at 100 degrees Celsius all the water will vaporize. So m into L. So now you see here Q1 I am just using here specific heat capacity formula. Here the latent heat, when the phase change occur at the 0 degrees Celsius the ice will melt. That's why I use this formula m into L. After melting all the ice its temperature will increase 0 to 100, that is your mc delta T, and at 100 degrees Celsius all the water will vaporize. So you should know the latent heat of vaporization of water and latent heat of fusion of ice. So after getting Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, if you will add this 4, you will get how much heat is needed to vaporize minus 10 degrees Celsius, that 1 kg of ice at minus 10 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius.